Can you call Allah
If
Father?
you want me to steal man everything you want, I think I'll do a better job than you. I'm
Can you
gonna.
call Allah Father?
Yeah, I've already said no. Do you want me to steal man everything
Good,
you
because
want?
I feel like you don't understand. So was
I know.
Jesus?
Do you want me to
Did
steal man
Jesus
everything you
call?
want?
Did Jesus call God Father?
Yeah, sure, I can grant that.
Okay. Therefore, Jesus was not a Muslim.
That does not, oh my Lord, that does not follow. I'll tell you
Really?
why.
Really?
You
Why
want to,
not?
yeah, when you engage in dialogue, you don't just present your premises, you also ask for rebuttal,
That's
right?
why I asked you why. I asked you why not.
I'm gonna tell you. So, being a Muslim, you affirm the fundamental beliefs, not whether it ranges to semantics or not, right? So, if the term father was used as a way to reference God in his time, that'll be completely fine, right? Nowadays, we do not use this term of father because it's associated with polytheistic tendencies. Like, for example, when in the Old Testament, God used to be called Baal, right? Then God, because people used to associate demonic tendencies to this, he stripped this title of Baal and said, "You all call me Ishi."
No, there is an issue, right? So we agree on the historical point that
Yeah, I
Jesus
didn't say
referred to God as Father, correct?
I said Ishi. I said a name.
I'm gonna ask you this. So we agree with the historical point that Jesus referred to God as Father, correct?
Yeah, did you listen
And
to
we
everything?
agree that Muslims today cannot call Allah Father in that same sense, correct?
Yeah, like I said,
All right.
the
Now my question.
oh my God,
Yeah,
go
there was
ahead.
a God called, but right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's a complete wrong. But so my question is now about the continuity, right? So if Jesus' way of referring to God was legitimate and was revealed during his ministry, right? But Islam later prohibits Muslims from using that designation or that design, right? Then you need to explain why Jesus should be classified as teaching Islam rather than Judaism and Christianity, because saying the legislation was different at the time, right? Like you said, explains the difference, but it doesn't demonstrate that Jesus was teaching the same
I didn't say
theology as Islam.
legislation. I didn't say
But
legislation.
yeah, but that's
I
what you meant, right? Because you said that time period
no,
was okay, correct?
no, I didn't.
You
Because
said you said during that
Muslim
time period.
beliefs,
No, no, no.
like
You told me that during
Muslim
that time
beliefs,
period it was
you
okay for
affirm
Jesus to say Father, correct?
usage of words do not
Yo,
restrict the
man,
belief,
go.
right?
Didn't he say during that time period it's okay for Jesus to call the Father God, to
Yeah,
call God
because
Father?
what's defined is the belief, not the actual word itself.
Right, exactly. So you're saying the legislation was different at the time, correct?
If do you mean in a fiqh sense or not? What's fiqh?
Oh my goodness, it's not that hard to understand. Okay, you
When you
told
say
me
legislation, are you saying it's within a belief system or within a jurisprudence?
a belief system.
Yeah, when you use the word legislation, do you mean within like jurisprudence or a belief system?
When I say legislation, what I mean the specific religious laws or commands that God gives to a particular community at the particular time. Things like dietary rules, rituals, worship regulations, other commands. Right? I
That's got
understand your
nothing to
point.
do, bro. That's got nothing to do with him, Jesus calling
Yes, it is.
God Father. Man.
Yes, it is.
How's that got anything to do?
How? What?
You're conflating belief system with the jurisprudence. How are you doing that?
I don't think you're understanding my point here. My good
No,
sir,
you said
then you
legislation,
ask
right?
what does legislation mean, right? It matters because you're saying the difference is due to different legislations at different times. But calling God Father isn't merely
I
a
didn't
ritual
say
law.
that.
Like,
Oh my Lord, when did
yes,
I
you
say
did.
legislation?
Yeah, that's what legislation is referring to, right?
Yeah,
You're saying at different
in
times.
look, I'll explain it to you once again, right? In
No, I
regards to
understand your
fiqh,
point.
which is jurisprudence, right? This can vary or alter over time, right? Or change in forms. While the original parts, the original baseline of a jurisprudence remains. Belief systems remain consistent across the board, across all periods of time, right?
No, it
Whether
doesn't.
you want to use word X or you want to use word Y to say the exact same thing, doesn't really matter, right? It's later changed by how people now associate that word, right? Now, the word father has now been associated to believe that God really took on a son that was from him, and then that same God is the father of the son, like literally. You understand? We would reject such
Oh
thing
my goodness.
because it doesn't exist. It doesn't actually exist in the true belief system. Using words or whatever you want to use, you could use any word you want,
Dude,
right?
there's a problem. There's a huge problem.
Aligning with the belief system.
No, that's not what I'm. No, the
But bro, it
problem,
doesn't
right?
have to
You're not
be.
addressing my
I
point, so I'm going to
answered
restate
the
it.
question.
I'm going to restate my point because you're not understanding my point. The problem is that Islam claims continuity with past prophets, right? Correct, right? They claim to be in continuity with past prophets, right?
Yeah.
Right. You're saying Jesus could refer to God as Father. Muslims today cannot, because the way God is referred to can change over time. But if Islam claims to preserve the same fundamental message of the prophets, then you need to distinguish between changes in a specific practice and changes in the underlying understanding of God. Because if Jesus' understanding of God's relationship with his people was different from what Islam later teaches, this saying things can change over time doesn't establish this continuity. It just explains a difference, which is what I'm pointing out. There's a difference between Islam and what Jesus taught, right? So my question is, what exactly remained continuous between Jesus' teaching about God and Islam's later teaching about God?
Oh my Lord. Like I said, for the millionth
Now
time,
answer my question.
it doesn't matter that's being used. It matters the belief system, right? If Jesus believes that God is one, that God is absolute transcendence, has absolute transcendence, and God is all powerful, and that's exactly what we believe as well, but uses a different term for him. It does not negate his belief. If he's differing in semantics, that's not an issue. How on earth is it going to be an issue? You're not defining this. If you call God, for example, if you believe in the Trinity, if you call the Father anything other than the Father, would you be disbelieving in the Trinity? But yeah,
No,
believing
that's
in
not.
all.
No. All right, buddy. You said
No,
so.
so you're not
To
you're not going to
understand,
disbelieve in the
no.
Trinity.
I'm answering your question, right?
No,
You said
you
that.
need to.
No, you said.
Let me finish. I'm finishing.
No, I thought you already
So
finished.
I'm just going to finally finish, then you can go off on it, okay? So you proposing, saying that if you have a different name for something, that means you believe in it differently. It wouldn't follow, because if you believe in the Trinity and you would switch out a name for the Father for something else, but you believe in the properties of the Trinity, you don't disbelieve in the Trinity. You just have different semantics for it.
Bro, I don't understand what you're saying, right?
Okay, example. I'll give you the example.
I understand what you're saying. I'm saying what you're
You
stating is
just say you don't
illogical.
understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but your claim doesn't make any sense, right? Because you said that there's no difference in like attributes of God, correct? That Jesus taught, right?
Oh my Lord.
No. I'm asking you a question because your claim was that there was no difference between like the attributes that the Christian God and the Muslim God has, correct? Like all powerful, transcendent, right?
I'm talking about the general belief. Like
Right.
say,
Yeah, exactly. The attributes
Jesus
of God,
is
right?
God.
Right.
Yeah.
The attributes of God, correct?
No, we talk about overall belief, not just the
Oh, you
attributes.
just answered my question. It's not that hard. You're
Yeah,
saying it doesn't matter. You're, you're, you're saying it doesn't matter because because Jesus believed God was all powerful, transcendent. It has the same attributes as the Muslim God, right?
yeah, bro. Classical
Okay.
theism,
So here's
no
the
person.
problem with that, right? Here's the problem. I have a tree in my backyard that I worship and believe is all powerful, transcendent. Does that make me Muslim?
What? We were talking
I'm
about
using your
names.
argument. No, I'm using your argument.
No, we're talking about semantics. You're talking about worshiping something else. You're talking about worshiping something else.
Exactly.
You
That's
don't
the
even know
point.
what
Exactly.
you're arguing
Jesus
for.
worshipped something else. Exactly. That's the point.
We're not talking about different worship. We're talking about semantics.
No. Here's the problem. Because you told me it doesn't matter because Jesus worshipped the same attributes that Muslims worship at. The same attributes
No,
like
you
being
don't
all
worship
powerful,
attributes.
transcendent. Correct?
You don't worship attributes. Like, what is
That's
this?
not what I said. That's not what I said. Right?
You
You
said
said
worship.
Jesus worshiped. You said it doesn't matter that Jesus calls God Father because he worshiped the same, or not worship, because he called, because he believed that God was all powerful, transcendent, right? Had the same attributes as the Muslim God, correct?
Yeah.
So I can tell you, I have a tree in my backyard right now that I believe has the same attributes as the Muslim God. Am I Muslim?
And how is a tree gonna have the same attributes?
No, you tell me. You can't say that to me. That's what I believe. I believe
Is a tree
that
physical?
this tree is the same.
Is the
It
tree
has the same
physical?
attributes as Allah, right?
Yeah, is the
But
tree
I believe
physical?
it's the tree. It's transcendent. It's all powerful. Does that make me
Oh
Muslim?
my lord, is the tree physical?
Does that make me Muslim?
I'm asking you, is the tree physical?
Does that make me Muslim?
I'm asking you about the tree. Is the tree physical?
Buddy, answer my question.
What do you mean answer the question? You need to qualify your question.
No, I'm
Of
not.
course,
I
the
don't
tree
need to.
isn't going to be
No,
God because
because
the tree is physical and God is not physical.
no, that's irrelevant to the point of the analogy.
How
I'm
is it
showing that
irrelevant?
merely. Here's
You
why.
tried
Yeah,
to
I'm
cite this
explaining why.
one
I'm
scripture
explaining why it's
earlier,
irrelevant.
and
I'm
then you
explaining
want
why.
to
Is that
talk
okay?
about worship and everything else.
Can I explain why it's irrelevant? Can I
Give me
explain
your
why?
brain up.
No. Can I explain why it's irrelevant? Is that okay with you?
This is what I asked you to explain from the beginning.
No, I'm explaining why it's irrelevant. Do you want me to?
Yeah, I asked you to explain why it's relevant.
No, you didn't. So it's the reason why it's irrelevant because I'm showing that merely saying I believe in one transcendent, all-powerful God is not enough to establish that someone is Muslim, right? If the tree itself is God, then we clearly have a different conception of who God is, right? So being transcendent and all-powerful is not enough to say I am Muslim. I have a tree in my backyard. It is all-powerful. I believe it is transcendent. I believe it is God. It's the same attributes as Allah, right? Am I Muslim? Habibi, answer the question.
Yeah, okay. If you believe in the same idea of God that the Prophet Muhammad believed in the same idea of God, that would make you Muslim, and that's what Jesus believed in. Are you happy?
Buddy, okay. Did Muhammad say, okay, buddy. Okay, I'm gonna ask you this.
Oh
According
my
to the
God.
Quran, Muhammad believed that Allah could not be a father, correct?
Yeah.
So if Jesus calls God a father, did he believe in the same God that Muhammad talked about?
This is one, first of all, this won't be in reference to Jesus himself. This will be in reference to the
Answer
people
my
later
question.
who are attributing, 1 second, who are attributing this actual fatherhood, to humanity, and that Jesus was also like a literal son of God, right? This is what's being rebuked. Okay, like I've already said, in the time of Jesus and the other time of the prophets, if they use the word father, if they use the word for anything for God, it wouldn't really matter, right? They could call God, I don't know, they could call God the letter X. It wouldn't really matter
Yes, it
because
would matter.
no, it wouldn't. They could call God the letter X. So, but the underlying premise is that they believe in the same attribute, the same way that all the other prophets later on also.
Okay, I'm going to explain this again because clearly you're not listening. Because you're saying these attributes
answered
are
you,
enough. No, I'm going to answer why you're wrong. Because you're saying because I believe in these specific attributes, I am Muslim.
No,
I'm going to say it again. I have a tree in my. I have a tree. I have a tree in my backyard. It has the same attributes as the Muslim God. Am I Muslim?
No,
No, so
because
just because they have the same
the tree
attributes,
itself
it
cannot be
doesn't
God
mean
because
they
tree
are
is
Muslim.
physical. Are you slow? The tree is physical.
That's irrelevant to my analogy
How is that irrelevant?
because we're
If I
talking
observe a
about
tree,
the attributes.
okay? I observe a
All
tree,
right, fine. How about
and
this?
you
How about
say
this?
this is
Fine.
God.
I'll change it.
Doesn't mean
I'll
anything
change my
else.
analogy. I'll change my analogy. I have an imaginary friend that you can't see, touch, or smell, or look at. All right. I believe he has the same attributes as Allah. Am I a Muslim?
Do you believe he's unipersonal?
Am I a Muslim?
Yeah, like I've already said, you would be
Really?
Muslim if you held the same beliefs of God as how the Prophet Muhammad affirmed the belief.
Okay, so Prophet Muhammad affirmed the belief,
Because the
right?
entire
Okay,
point,
look. No.
divine
Here's why you just cooked yourself. All right. Here's why you cooked
unity.
yourself. You said I'm Muslim.
Unity.
No. You said I'm Muslim, right? If I believe in the same God that Muhammad taught, right?
Yeah.
Did Muhammad teach that God is not Father?
Like I said, yeah, you cannot attribute fatherhood to God.
All right. So Muhammad taught that God, that Allah was not Father, correct?
Yes, like I've said, yes.
Did Jesus call God Father?
Oh my Lord, what do you not understand about calling something something and attributing
Did
something to
Jesus
something?
call God Father?
Oh my Lord, this guy just going in circles.
Did
Jesus
Jesus call God
can
Father?
call God Father, okay? In a
Did
semantic
Jesus
sense.
call God Father? Say it with me,
Calling
Jaden.
God
Did
Father in
Jesus
a semantic
call
sense
God
is
Father?
not
Say it again. Did
contradictory.
Jesus call God Father?
I answered you 5 times already. I said yes. You're so slow. You don't even
Therefore,
understand.
since
There's a
Muhammad,
difference
since your
between
claim,
applying
since
a
your claim,
polytheistic
okay,
tendency to the word Father and
since your
using it
claim,
semantically.
no, okay, you claim that to be a Muslim, you must follow, Habibi, you must follow the teachings that Muhammad taught, right, Habibi? You told me Muhammad taught that God was not Father. Therefore, Jesus is not a Muslim,
Oh my
Habibi.
God.
What are you going to say? He's
Okay, can you
corrupted?
tell me in the Quran? Can you tell me in the Quran why it says not to call God Father?
Oh my good. What? It's pretty simple. Did
No, go
Muhammad
ahead,
say
go
God
ahead.
was? Did Muhammad say Allah was a father?
No. I'm asking you, why did he say
Did
this? There's a
Muhammad
reason
say
for
that
everything.
Allah was a father?
There's a reason for everything. I've already said what
Oh,
is being a father. Can you explain why?
Habibi, Habibi, I'm going to put you down if you don't answer my question. I'm going to ask this one more time. Did
Look how you're running, bro. It's actually embarrassing. Look how you're
I'm
running.
embarrassing, buddy.
Yes, you're
You're
running.
repeating the
Can you
same
explain
argument
why
over and
he
over.
said this? Can you explain why he said this?
Okay, dude. I'm asking you a question.
I've answered you the question 5 times in a row. Can you now answer my question? Why is it in the Quran? Does it say to not call Allah Father?
Okay. Okay. So
Why?
exactly that's my question to you. Why does Muhammad reject calling
I
Allah Father?
answered you. I answered you. Do you remember my answer?
That's my question to
Do you
you.
remember my
That's
answer?
why I'm confused.
Do you remember my answer?
No. Yeah. Why does Muhammad reject calling Allah Father?
Allahu Akbar. You're arguing and you don't even remember the other person's response.
Buddy, what are you talking about?
I feel brain rot. I'm gonna repeat
I'm
it to
brain
you.
rot. Yet you didn't
I'm
answer my
gonna teach you.
question.
Don't worry.
Yet
I'm
you're
gonna
running
teach
in
you.
circles.
Don't worry.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
you're
simple.
running in circles. Don't worry. I'm gonna teach
It's
you.
okay.
The reason why
Go
this
ahead, Habibi.
negation of using the word Father for God is not allowed because of the polytheistic tendencies attributed to it. Like, for example, believing that God is literally a father to humanity, that he literally begets these individuals, right? This is polytheistic, okay? Because God, as he himself says, that he does not beget, nor is he begotten. So he negates this entire idea of fatherhood purely because of the understanding of begetting something, right? Of begetting humanity, of begetting creation. Now, this wouldn't apply to Jesus's usage because we don't affirm Jesus used in the same way, but rather
Exactly.
this understanding is implemented in Islamic theology to rebuke against the later Trinitarians who believe that Jesus was God and that they
Exactly.
attribute a literal fatherhood to God as well.
Exactly. That's the
Now you have
historical
another
issue that I'm raising. Jesus used this language while affirming one God.
racist.
Muhammad prohibited the terminology, and you told me to be a Muslim, Habibi, you must follow
Can you tell me
the
why he
God
said this?
that
Did he
Muhammad
say this for
taught.
Jesus?
You
Did
told
he
me.
say this for
No,
Jesus or
you
Trinitarian?
told me. You told me that to be a Muslim,
Oh
you
my
must
Lord. Did he
follow
say
the
this for
God
Jesus?
that. Have a nice day.